Welcome to our Inspirational Book Reading Club, wherein we are doing the second book for this time, which is a wonderful book called Goals by Brian Tracy. And herein we start this section today. So make new choices and new decisions. By the same token, your choice of a mate and friends will have as much or more to do with your success and happiness than any other decisions you make. If you're not happy with any of your current choices, it's up to you to begin taking steps to improve or change them. Finally, as president, you are in complete charge of personal research and development, personal training and learning. It is up to you to determine the talents, skills, abilities, and core competencies you will need to earn the kind of money you want to earn in the months and years ahead. It is then your responsibility to make the investment and take the time to learn and develop these skills. No one is going to do it for you. The unavoidable truth is that no one really cares as much as you do. So become a growth stock. What does this mean? Let's understand. To take this analogy a little further, see yourself as a company with a stock that trades on the market. Is your stock the kind of stock that people would invest in? Confident that it will continue to grow in value and profitability in the months and years ahead? Are you a growth stock or has your value leveled off in the marketplace? If you have decided to be a growth stock, what is your strategy for increasing your income 25 to 30% every year, year after year? As the president of your own life, as a spouse or parent in your own family, you owe it to the important people in your life to be on a growth curve, to be continually increasing in value, income, and profitability as the years progress. Take the wheel of your own life. From this point forward, see and think about yourself as a master of your own fate. See yourself as completely in charge of your own life. See yourself as the president of your own personal services cooperation. See yourself as a powerful person, completely self-determined and self-directed. Refuse to whine and complain about things that happened in the past which can't be changed. Instead, orient yourself towards the future and think of what you want and where you're going. Above all, think about your goals. The very act of thinking about your goals makes you positive and purposeful again. Determine your locus of control. What does this mean? Now, there is a large body of psychological literature that revolves around the concept of locus of control theory. In more than 50 years of research, psychologists have determined that your locus of control is a determining factor of your happiness or unhappiness in life. Why is that? Let's understand. A person with an internal locus of control is a person who feels that he or she is in complete control of his or her life. This person feels strong, confident, and powerful. He or she is generally optimistic and positive. He or she feels terrific about him or herself and feels very much in charge of his or her destiny. On the other hand, a person with an external locus of control is a person who feels controlled by external factors, by their boss, their bills, their marriage, their childhood problems, and the current situation. They feel out of control, and as a result, they feel weak, angry, fearful, negative, hostile, and disempowered. The good news is that there's a direct relationship between the amount of responsibility you accept and the amount of control you feel. The more you say, I am responsible, the more of an internal locus of control you develop within yourself, and the more powerful and confident you feel. So, we have been taught this again and again that we cannot shirk any responsibility. We cannot keep blaming people and can't keep whining about why this has happened to me or just give any kind of clarification or reasoning. Now, one thing that we have been taught again and again in this book and other books is that we need to take full responsibility of whatever happens to us because of us. Now, when we do that, naturally, because we are responsible, we are going to be more alert. When we're going to be more alert, we'd either feel great, good, confident, or at least feel that we are empowered. And then when we feel that, oh, it's not in our hands, then what happens? The dependability ratio on somebody else increases. When you're dependent, again, you're playing the blame game. And when you're playing the blame game, you'll say, oh, that person is weak, so it didn't happen. Oh, I'm angry. Oh, I'm fearful. And all the negative emotions will come, which will lead to a downward curve in our life. Positive attracts positive, negative attracts negative. What is it that we choose depends completely upon us. What kind of control do we want in us? And this can be inculcated. These are habits which we can always learn and inculcate in our life to lead where we want to go. Let's talk about the golden triangle. There's also a direct relationship between responsibility and happiness. The more responsibility we accept, the happier we become. It seems that all three, responsibility, control, and happiness, go together. The more responsibility we accept, the greater amount of control we feel we have. The greater amount of control we feel we have, the happier and more confident we become. When we feel positive and in control of our life, we will set bigger and more challenging goals for ourselves. We will have also the drive and determination to achieve them. We will feel as if we hold our life in our own hands and that we can make it into whatever we decide to. Isn't that marvelous? So much of responsibility, so much of power that, alone we can do so much, because right now the belief is alone we can't go far. Yes, that's another analogy, but creating our lives, our goals is completely dependent upon us. It is in your hands is what Brian Tracy is telling us repeatedly. The starting point of goal setting is for you to realize that you have virtually unlimited potential to be, have, or do anything you really want in life. Again, people who have a soft copy with you, like a printed copy with you, please mark and underline this. All of us have unlimited potential to be what we want to be, to have what we really want, or to do anything that we desire to do. If we simply want it badly enough, we are willing to work long hours and hard enough to achieve it. And sometimes I feel the language which people say hard enough, I think it's when you're passionate about something, time doesn't seem to matter because you're going to be flowing in whatever you're doing because you really, really, really want it. So then it's not hard enough, it's passionately enough or dream enough or whatever you want to coin it as. The second part of goal setting is for you to accept your complete responsibility for your life and for everything that happens to you, with no blaming and no excuses at all. With these two concepts clearly in mind, that you have unlimited potential and that you are completely responsible, you're now ready to move to the next step, which is to begin designing your ideal future. So, all of us are designers of our lives. We're the co creators of our life with the universe in power. Whether you're atheist or you're a believer, there's one source and we can co-create our lives. And that's the hard truth, whether you realize or not. We may be dependent upon other people, but actually only person dependable is you, yourself, for your life. Take charge of your life. First, identify your biggest problem or source of negativity in life today. In what ways are you responsible for the situation? Now, whether it's financial, physical, emotional, spiritual, or anything, if there are roadblocks in our lives, we have to identify why we had the roadblock. What is leading us to become negative? What is the limitation? What is the limiting belief that we have? And once we identify that, we can break it down into smaller, simpler, achievable, tangible goals. Number two, see yourself as the president of your own company. How would you act differently if you own 100% of the shares? For the people who are working for somebody else, whatever portfolio you're leading, if you start taking complete responsibility of that and say, okay, if I am, this is the way I'm going to be, then what will be the result? Number three, resolve today to stop blaming anyone else for anything and instead accept complete responsibility in every area of your life. What action should you be taking? It's a very beautiful reminder to stop blaming, to take complete responsibility, and to do a step-by-step to-do list for ourselves to reach our goals. Goals will only become dreams if we don't identify them with a deadline and a to-do list. Goals are achievable when they have that plan action and when they have that deadline, then they really come to fruition. Number 4, stop making excuses and start making progress. Imagine that your favorite excuse have no basis in fact and act accordingly. So karna hai, that's it. The attitude has to be do or die. When I have this dream, I have this burning desire, I must do it. And there are no excuses for it. Come what may. And that's something all of us can learn from sportsmanship. People who train hard, they wake up in the morning, they have that kind of diet, they have that kind of focus, and then achieve the goals. And then they get those gold medals in Olympics, which may look like whatever. It's not a cakewalk. They really toil hard for it. And in this book, we've been taught that what price are we ready to pay? So then there's a price for everything, right? Number 5, see yourself as a primary creative force in your own life. You are where you are and what you are because of your own choice and decisions. What should you change? And now this is something 99.5% don't believe. It's a statistic figure which is there because the people feel, oh, I'm born in this house, I'm born to this parents, I'm married to this person, this is his or her attitude, and I can't do because of this, because we are blaming. But we attract whatever energy we give out. So if we are the primary creative force of our own life and we own whatever we do, we take our own responsibility and we say that every choice I choose, every decision I decide to do is my responsibility. Then we start looking at how can we change that to kind of gain more know-how into our to-do list, how to become more knowledgeable, and how to implement the book, not just read it. Lastly, number 6, resolve today to forgive anyone who has ever hurt you in any way. Let it go. Refuse to discuss it again. Instead, get so busy working on something that is so important to you that you don't have time to think about it again. This reminds us of a story when you're angry. Say if there's a coal in your hand and you're angry, it's burning you. The other person probably has just walked over, doesn't even know, but you are burning. Your hand is burning. So any anger will manifest into dis-ease in the body, will manifest into some kind of attitude where you just want to take revenge or something. So until we let go, we cannot move on. Remember also the adage which says, forgive and forget. Now the word forgive is forgiving. We need to give to get. Forgive, forget. Until we give, we cannot get. And what do we give? Complete acceptance that whoever did whatever to me in their consciousness at that moment, he or she understood that that worked fine. And whatever results he did is his or her karmic baggage, not mine. So why am I increasing my karmic baggage by taking on any kind of, pain? Now let's move to chapter number 3. It's very powerful and it's very, very, very amazing. And this is a very strong pillar for making our dreams come true before time, right? Which says, the heading is, create your own future. James Allen says, you will become large as your controlling desire or as great as your dominant aspiration. So let's understand this. If something is controlling us, then we're going to be limited. But if our aspiration, whatever dominant it is, then you're like, okay, this is something I really want to do it. Today or tomorrow or day after, we will achieve it. Because that is what is dominant in us. And then we are going to have the right people coming in. Then we may say a couple of years later, I was at the right place at the right time and Lady Luck kind of helped me. Because my dominant aspiration was something. But if something is controlling me, whether it's my anger, whether it's my binge eating, whether it's my indiscipline, whether it's my lack of routine or whatever, then that's going to become more bigger. Brian Tracy says in more than 3,300 studies of leaders conducted over the years, there's a special quality that stands out. One quality that all great leaders have in common. It's a vision. It's a quality of vision. Leaders have vision. Non-leaders do not. Earlier, I said that the most important discovery in all of human history is that you become what you think about most of the time. What is it then that leaders think about most of the time? And the answer is that leaders think about the future and where they are going and what they can do to get there. The plan of action again. Non-leaders, on the other hand, think about the present and the pleasures and the problems of the moment. They think and worry about the past and what has happened that can't be changed. Now, all of us know past is past, but past has a very important thing for us to remember. The lesson that we have learned because of knocks and shocks, or however the situation surfaced. If we look at the lessons in the past, no matter how ugly it was, it will not repeat. So we have to be careful about what we take away from the past. The present is our most important because this is where we sow the seeds of a wonderful, bright future. So every moment is important, and the moment that's past is always in the past. But if you've created good seeds in the past, your future has to be bright. There's no two hoots about that. Think about the future. We call this leadership quality future orientation. Leaders think about the future, what they want to accomplish, and where they want to arrive sometime down the road. Leaders think about what they want and what can be done to achieve it. The good news is that when you begin to think about your future as well, you begin to think like a leader. You will soon get the same results that leaders get. Dr. Edward Banfield of Harvard concluded, after more than 50 years of research, that long-term perspective was the most important determinant of financial and personal success in life. Banfield defined long-term perspective as the ability to think several years onto the future while making decisions in the present. This is one of the most important discoveries ever made. Just think. The further you think into the future, the better decisions you will make in the present to assure that the future becomes a reality. Very beautiful, very, very powerful. Become a millionaire. Now, some people think becoming a millionaire is tough, but is it? Have you really thought that it's possible to become a millionaire by our dreams, by our goals, by our deadlines, by our action list, and not just the action, by doing it? For example, if you save $100 a month from the age of 20 to the age of 65, you invested that money in a mutual fund earning an average of 10% over time, you would be worth more than $1,118,000 when you retired. Now, this is the effect of compounding, which we have just learned in the book previous to this, The Slight Edge. For those of you who haven't done it, it's already on the YouTube channel called Inspiration, The Slight Edge, right? Just go through it and do it. The channel name is Born One to One for Life, right? Okay. For example, right. Anyone who really wanted to could save $100 a month. He or she had a long enough time perspective. What this means is that every single person starting work today can become a millionaire over time if they begin early enough, save consistently enough, and hold to the long-term vision of financial independence. Now, create a 5-year fantasy. You may have heard about this. What's your 5-year vision? What's your goal for the 5 years? In personal strategic planning, you should begin with a long-term view of your life as well. You should begin by practicing idealization in everything you do. In the process of idealization, you create a 5-year fantasy for yourself and begin thinking about what your life would look in the next 5 years if it were perfect in every respect. The biggest single obstacle to setting goals is self-limiting beliefs. These are the areas where you believe yourself to be limited in some way. You may believe yourself to be inadequate or inferior in areas such as intelligence, ability, talent, creativity, personality, or something else. As a result, you sell yourself short. By underestimating yourself, you set either no goals or low goals that are far below what you're truly capable of accomplishing. Imagine no limitations. So one more thing I want to tell everybody, you're here because you want to become more successful, create your dreams faster. Spirituality helps you with that. When you talk about spirituality, then you talk about that I am whole and complete and the universe has my back. And whatever shortcomings have come in the past, Because maybe my thought process was that I hereby change my process and I see that I am limitless. The minute you say that, you're entering a spiritual realm. Back to the book, imagine no limitations. By combining idealization and future orientation, you cancel or neutralize the process of self limitation. You imagine for the moment that you have no limitations at all. You imagine that you have all the time, talents, and abilities you could ever require to achieve any goal you could set for yourself. No matter where you are in life, you imagine that you have all the friends, contacts, and relationships you need to open every door and achieve anything you could really want. You imagine that you have no limitation whatsoever on what you could be, have, or do in the pursuit of the goals that are really important to you. So, one more thing we've been taught in this book itself, we have to have a burning desire. If there's no burning desire, if there are no goals, if there's no timeline attached to goals, plan of actions, and implementation, then everything would be very verbal. Also, we've been taught that journaling, writing down, is extremely important because we know by now that our human brain thinks about 30 to 40,000 thoughts a day. With that kind of monkey mind, if you don't put things in clarity on paper, on thought, then how do we process further? So we need to do that. Practice blue sky thinking. In Charles Garfield's studies of peak performers, he made an interesting discovery. He analyzed men and women who had achieved only average results at work for many years, but who suddenly exploded into great success and accomplishment. He found that at the takeoff point, every one of them began engaging in what he called blue sky thinking. In blue sky thinking, you imagine that all things are possible for you, just like looking up into a clear blue sky with no limits. You project forward several years and imagine that your life were perfect in every respect sometimes in the future. You then look back to where you are today and ask yourself these little questions. What would have to be happened for me to have created my perfect future? You then come back to where you are in the present in your own mind and ask what would have to happen from this point forward for me to achieve all my goals sometime in the future. So when we do to and fro into a future and into a present, we are correlating that, and then we're finding possibilities. And the minute we close our eyes and we think about it, all the answers get downloaded immediately. Why? Whether you believe it or not, we all have a spirit, a soul, and that has a purpose, and we are fulfilling its purpose. So all the thoughts keep coming down to us. They're also masters, guides, angels who help us in this process. Nonetheless, back to the book. Refuse to compromise your dreams. When you practice idealization and future orientation, you make no compromises with your dreams and visions for yourself and your future. You don't settle for smaller goals or half successes. Instead, you dream big dreams and project forward mentally as though you're one of the most powerful people in the universe. You create your perfect future. You decide what you really want before you come back to the present moment and deal with what is possible for you within your current situation. Start with your business and career. Imagine that your work life was perfect 5 years from now. Answer these questions. And these are 7 very important questions. First, what would it look like? So, your career, your business, your personal life, whatever your goal is, imagine what would that look like? What would you be doing? Where would you be doing it? Why would you be working with? Who would you be working with? What level of responsibility would you have? What kind of skills and abilities would you have? What kind of goals would you be accomplishing? What level of status would you have in your field? Now, these 7 questions help us chisel our dreams to a very crisp, precise dream, making it a goal. Practice no limit thinking. When you answer these above questions, imagine that you have no limits. Imagine that everything is possible for you. Peter Drucker once said, "We greatly overestimate what we can accomplish in 1 year, but we greatly underestimate what we can accomplish in 5 years." Don't let this happen to you. Now, idealize your perfect financial life sometime in the future. Again, the 7 questions. How much do you want to be earning 5 years from today? What sort of lifestyle do you want to have? What kind of home do you want to live in? What kind of car do you want to drive? What kind of material luxuries do you want to provide for yourself and your family? How much do you want to have in the bank? How much do you want to be saving and investing each month and each year? How much do you want to be worth when you retire? Imagine that you have a magic slate. You can write down anything you want. You can erase anything that you may have happened in the past and create whatever picture you desire for your future. You can clean the slate at any time and start over. You are limitless. Imagine your perfect family life. And there are 5 questions for this. Look at your family and relationships today and project 5 years into the future. First, if your family life were perfect 5 years from now, what would it look like? Second, who would you be with? How would you be? And who would you no longer be with? Now, this is a very important question. Some people we think are toxic, they are energy vampires. We think when around them, our energy goes low. So, would you want to be around them? But we also should know that we have these people in our life. They are PETs, they are personal emotional trainers. And they come in the life for a particular reason. But nonetheless, this question is imperative for us to answer. Number 3, where and how would you be living? What kind of living standards would you have? What kind of relationships would you have the most important people in your life 5 years from now, if everything were perfect in every respect? When you fantasize and imagine your perfect future, the only question you ask is how. This is the most powerful question of all. Asking it repeatedly stimulates your creativity and triggers ideas to help you accomplish your goals. Unsuccessful people always wonder whether or not a particular goal is possible. High achievers, on the other hand, only ask the question, how? Then they set to work to find ways to make their visions and goals into realities. Now, the question is about our ideal health and fitness. Now, health is wealth. If our health is gone for a toss, nothing functions. Review your levels of health and fitness in every area. If you were a perfect physical specimen 5 years from now, how could you look? Sorry, how would you look, feel, and appear? What would be your ideal weight? How much would you exercise each week? What would be your overall level of health? What changes would you have to start making today in your diet, exercise routines, and health habits to enjoy superb physical health sometime in the future? We are going to become what we are in the present, sowing the seeds today for a nice future tomorrow. So, if we start developing these clean eating habits, clean sleeping habits, clean habits, we are going to become a beautiful version later. You then imagine that you are an important and influential person, a player in your community. You are making a significant contribution to the world around you. You are making a difference with your life and in the lives of other people. If your social and community status and involvement were ideal, what would you be doing? What organization would you be working with or contributing to? What are the causes that you strongly believe in and support, and how could you become more involved in those areas? And this is something called ISR, individual social responsibility. We aren't born to be selfish, we are born with love and light. And it is our imperative duty, our innate nature, to be kind, empathetic, compassionate, full of love, full of light. And we must share this light, this love, this empathy, this compassion with people around us, make a difference in whichever field you think you're good at. Everybody is blessed with some good quality. Discover that. How can you help? I'm not saying we contribute our lives and stop being professional and just going for charity. No. We can do something parallel that helps others. And that could also come out from your own selfish reasons. That doesn't matter. As long as others are helping it, being helped is a good idea. Like, for example, me, this evening session it's a selfish reason. Yes, I'm a book addict. Yes, I love to read. Yes, I love to have knowledge. But I just wish that all of us share this together, whoever logs in now or later in the future online, it doesn't matter. It's about a community because the power of community is very, very important. The collective mass consciousness is very important. What I read alone will be so much stronger when we read as a group for all of us. And one more important reminder for us, just do it. Now, Nike has this punch mark. Everybody knows this. What is this? Absolutely no excuses. The primary difference between high achievers and low achievers is action orientation. Men and women who accomplish tremendous things in life are intensely action oriented. They are moving all the time. They're always busy. If they have an idea, they take action immediately. They don't procrastinate much. On the other hand, low achievers and non achievers are full of good intentions, but they always have an excuse for not taking action today. It is well said that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Examine yourself in terms of your personal inventory of skills, knowledge, talent, education, and ability. If you were developed to the highest level possible for you, and there's virtually no limit, answer these questions. What additional knowledge and skills would you have acquired 5 years from now? In what areas would you be recognized as absolutely excellent in what you do? What would you be doing each day in order to develop the knowledge and skills you need to be one of the top performers in your field sometime in the future? Once you have answered these questions, the only question you ask is how. How do you attain the skills and expertise you will require to lead your field in the years ahead? To design your perfect calendar, especially design how you would like to live day in, day out, your ideal lifestyle. Design your perfect calendar from January 1st to December 31st. What would you like to do on your weekends and vacations? How much time would you like to take off each week, month, and year? Where would you like to go? How would you organize your year if you had no limitations and complete control over your time? In the Bible, it says, where there's a vision, the people perish. What this means is, if you lack an exciting vision for your future, you will perish inside in terms of lacking motivation and enthusiasm for what you're doing. But the reverse of this is that with an exciting future vision, you will be continually motivated and stimulated every day to take the action necessary to make your ideal vision a reality. Tomorrow we will read about the key to happiness because we've decided to have a half an hour reading. It's 32 minutes past. So let's just now get down to a Lotus of Gratitude. And that is a very powerful exercise or meditation before we end the day. So once again, let's close our eyes if possible, straighten our backs, and have two beautiful buds in our hands. Close our hands together. This practice is by Nitya Shanti. I've shared the video in the group, and I'm sure those of you who've read this can do along. Otherwise, just listen to me and do it. So we close both of our hands together, and one by one, we open our fingers. It takes about 100 seconds. And we think of 10 beautiful blessings that we have been blessed with in the last 24 hours or the day. It's very powerful to sleep with this gratitude. So let's start this and come around with each other in the next 100 seconds. Gratitude is the biggest multiplier. The more we count our blessings, the more blessed we become. The more we celebrate life, the more life gives us reasons to celebrate. Now expand your consciousness in a level where you're blessed beyond boundaries. Wonderful families, support from where people that you look around. And if nothing else, then you know that the universe has your back. You might have been negative, but the minute we start expanding in gratitude, especially at night and in the mornings, our vision, our perspective, our thought process, and the plane that we are right now resonating in changes. This shift in the consciousness is a very powerful shift. Expand your lotus of consciousness. Think that you're right now in a field of love and light. Just the way a lotus blooms even in dirt and muck. Similarly, all of us, with our knocks and shocks of life, our own struggles, can really go beyond and bloom and blossom independently without others around. We are the ones who can nurture ourselves with our goals to become a better person, a better individual, professionally, personally, emotionally, ethically, spiritually. It is our duty to become a better version of ourselves, not just in 5 years, but in every moment to moment. Acts of love, acts of kindness, acts of compassion and empathy make us better versions. So every day when we start thinking about this, we should also think about what have we done for someone to make them smile. This will help us to become better version on a daily level. So be blessed, my dear co-seekers. Thank you for joining this book reading. And I'm going to see you in the inside tomorrow, same time, same place at 9 p.m. for more inspiration. Until then, whatever we've been taught, please write that down and journal so that you can implement this book, not just read it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lots of love and light.